is UK Cowboys TV Season 2, Episode 92. And as you can see, we are now officially, great start, we are officially into the countdown for Christmas. So as you can see, we have neatly attired ourselves in Christmas attire. So this is how and talking of that, we have, of course, joining me today, our very own Chris Kringle, as you can see him there. Mr. Paul Stewart, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right, I suppose, aye.
Yeah, it's Friday night. It's Friday night, mate. Not
it's
very
Friday
often.
Night. It's Friday.
It's feeling nice. Maybe the Cowboys will win. Who knows? Yeah. It is the pregame show for yeah, we've got people joining us already. It's good to see you all. It's great to hear from you all, guys.
Our very own Graham
we've
well.
even got the old Grazies with us. Yes, it's the pregame show for the Cincinnati game, which kicks off this Sunday here in the UK at 6 p.m.
Thank God, it's a decent time.
Yeah. And there will, of course, be the whenever the Cowboys here in the UK kick off at 6 p.m. or the later game at 9:25. We have a pre-game meeting in the UK Cowboys group, so that will be happening this week, which is always entertaining. But of course, because it's Friday night and here in the UK it's 9 p.m., it does mean that it is beer o'clock. So there are beers available for everyone. It's up to you guys at home. Grab a wine, a whiskey, a beer, or maybe perhaps something you inhale. Who knows?
Just to point out, it's not a coincidence that we're both drinking the same beer, and we're not trying to like get a wee endorsement and like that.
An advertisement,
No, but we just love that beer. So
it is nice beer, and they say great minds think alike, sir. So well done for your choice of beverage for this evening.
Choice? It's not really. I wouldn't call it a choice. It's mandatory.
Yes, it is, but that's very true. Yeah. But I mean, I may as well get your opinion first of all, Paul, before we break into this week's game. What do you think of the last game, the Ravens game? Just a quick one, and then we will move on.
Pish. Absolute pish. It really was.
It wasn't great to watch, was it?
Yeah, it wasn't that. Like, yeah, it. Don't get me wrong. There was a few moments in the game. It was like, okay. There was a bit of momentum they could picked up, but it was just, it just kind of went back to the good old. It just felt like watching the first game of the season with the defense. Yeah. So, I mean, I can't really possibly comment too much about it because it's done and die with. We're now moving on to the next game, and yeah.
In the words of Bill Belichick, we're moving on to Cincinnati.
Yeah. True.
Oh, great. The wife's watching. Yeah. But it is the countdown to Christmas. So we officially get the Christmas attire and the clock.
Oh, wait, hold on a minute. So is your missus trying to say that it's actually an early Christmas present?
No. I'm supposed to be wearing it. I wore it today in work.
I was going to say, have you been a naughty boy this year, Mike?
I'm always in the bad books, mate. Yeah, but it's nice to see the old wifey watching. Very rarely does she do it. Usually she's telling me to stop talking Cowboys, but that's okay. Oh, there we go. Great. Yeah. We're about to get into a marriage counselling. Paul, you're going to be like, so tell me, how is the marriage?
Let me get my pen and notepad out.
Yeah, but yes. First of all, then we will get into some news and all the rest of it. Yep. But of course, before we get into all of that, make sure you send us your questions, your comments, your feelings, if you agree, disagree, or if you just want to have a shout out or hurl some abuse at us. That's always fun as well. Yeah, but your comments are always welcome, of course. But before we get any further, just a very quick shout out to our sponsor, which of course is Cowboys Experience. Let me just remove that a moment. Yes, Cowboys experience. Yeah, obviously, as we said before, 2020 is a write-off. So they're looking towards the future. So 2021, if you're looking to go to a game, make sure you book it with Cowboys experience. They've got game day tickets, stadium tours, and tailgate parties you won't want to miss. If you do book it, of course, use the discount code UK Cowboys. So you get a very special gift just for saying that very word, and it lets them know that you're watching us and that you love us. And as we say every time when you go to one of their events, send us your photos, your video clips, anything. If you do, and it's Cowboys experience, we guarantee you that it will go up on our social media, and that's always a bit of fun, of course, as well. And Mr. Paul himself has been even had a woman trying to look up his kilt.
I'm trying to remember if it's 2 times or 3 times. No, 3 times. Yeah, I've been 3 times. Yeah.
And only one time there's trying to be somebody looking up your kilt.
Yeah, let's just leave it at that, shall we?
Mate, I tell you, what I liked is when I told you that story, and you're like, "How the hell did you know that?" And I'm like, "My spies are everywhere."
Yeah, now everyone is now watching this and want to know. What happened, Paul? What happened? It was nearly a sexual assault.
Theoretically, is what happened.
Technically, aye, but I'm not complaining. She was pretty hot.
All right, then. Let's get into this before it all completely falls off the rail. We got some news updates, injury reports coming at you. So first of all, a bit of interesting one. Des Bryant is on the COVID list. Just thought I would chuck that out there.
I am going to... I know we're not supposed to be talking anymore about that Ravens game, but how in the fuck...
Did that happen?
Excuse my language, but... Moments before kickoff, Bryant was hugging everybody, all that stuff, and not just that. Yep. There's no way within 9 minutes of the game they got all that track and trace information of all the players, all the staff, all the medical team. Just all of a sudden, everyone's all right, but Des Bryant. And Des even came out and said on his tweets, he's like, my schedule's remained the same. I've been doing the exact same thing since I came to the Ravens. I can't understand what's actually happened, how I managed to came in contact with her. I mean, anything could have been airborne or whatever, but it just seems so weird that only him just got it.
Yeah, and, this is a team that got rescheduled because of COVID 3 times.
And everybody knows my thoughts about that in general.
It's not a good way to go.
No. If it was me, the Ravens should be bloody penalised.
It's very odd, especially when they say, player safety is paramount and league fairness and all the rest of it. You see that and you go, really?
No.
Now we've started it. Huh? Now we've started it.
No.
But yes, okay. So let's get into it. Donovan Wilson, who was out last week with an injury, he's questionable for this week. I'm not sure, entirely certain. It literally is a 50-50 situation with him there. My feelings from what I've heard and what I've read is that it literally is on the fence. Anthony Brown as well, cornerback with a rib injury. He's questionable. Does look like he'll start, but we don't know. Alden Smith, he's questionable as he always is every week. Chidobe Awuzie is on the COVID list. So looks like he's out. Running back Ezekiel Elliott, he's coming down with complaints of a calf injury, but he has made a statement in the press today saying it doesn't matter, calf injury or not, I'm playing. So looks like Zeke will be playing through that injury. God knows what they're going to do there, mind. Then Cam Irvin, he's questionable with a knee, but looks like he'll play. Interesting one, though. Tyler Biadasz is questionable to return. Looks like he might actually play, which is interesting.
I'm not going to lie. Is there any point? I'm thinking for Biadasz, right? Give him more game time. That's the only reason I can really think of giving him the start and all that, because he is just going to be the future centre next year.
True. Me personally, I say do it because he's a rookie and you want to see what you've got.
There's that as well, aye. There's that as well. Yeah, see what comes to me right now. My mind is all over the place right now. I don't want it. So initially, I don't want us to tank. Whoever says we should tank should not really regard themselves as Cowboys fans. I'm sorry. It's just should never have that losing mentality. And Tyson West Coast really took a right stab at those particular fans that were saying tank, tank, tank.
And he's actually getting pummeled for it too.
I know he's getting pummeled for it. In fact, but he is right though. It's like that.
He is right.
Because when you think about it, we've got 29 players are going to be free agents next year. They're going to be all fighting. They're going to be all fighting for that contract. It's really important for every one of those players who wants to be not even picked up by us, but other teams are going to be looking out for them as well. If they are going to be bad performing, then they're not going to be interested. As simple as that. It's just pure business. End of the day.
It is. You're completely right. And you've also got to think, does Mike McCarthy really want to have a 3-win season on his resume? That's what you've got to look at. Plus, there's a lot of money invested in this team. And there's no way as an owner or manager of a team that's the richest sports team in the world, do you want to be tanking and losing just for one guy? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
Yeah. But I have some interesting stats that we can chuck out for this one. Excuse me a minute. I just got to sort this out. Do my head in. There we go. So I got some interesting stats that I can chuck to you. Really, and then I'll get a question from you, and we'll take it from there. First of all, I went through the Cowboys' history. Of all the times they've ever gone 3-8, the best they've done at the end of the season is 4 wins.
Yeah.
So that means we are due another win, right? Now, looking at the schedule, although the Eagles are on there, I would say that this is the most likely game where we can pick up a win. What do you reckon?
I even think with this game coming up, we've got a 50-50 chance.
Yeah.
If we're in a fortunate position where the Bengals offensive line are poor as well.
They are. And their defensive line too. Their defensive line is bad.
And they're doing a lot worse than us, to be fair. It's just
yeah, true.
But because we are America's team, we're the ones that's getting more talked about. We're getting all the Stephen A. Smiths, all the Shannon Sharps, all talking down and laughing their asses off because it's us. But we're not hearing anything about Cincinnati. We're not hearing anything about the Jets, even though they're doing worse than us. No one's talking about the hot seat for Adam Gase at the Jets. No one's talking about what's going to happen with Joe Burrow or anything like that. What they're going to do with I can't even remember who the other team is. It's doing worse than us right now. Who is it?
Jets, Bengals, and Jacksonville.
Jacksonville? Is it Jacksonville? Jesus. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Okay. But you know what I mean, though. It's just mental, man. Mental.
But here's one for you, and you can attest to this play in the game, right, Paul? The Cowboys played Wednesday morning here in the UK. The quick turnaround, is that going to be an issue for the Cowboys team? And we're talking not just schematically and coaching as well as conditioning.
Automatically, yes, automatically. And this is the thing I was so pissed off about, is the fact that this reschedule change is actually jeopardizing our players more so than anything. We're already injured up enough, but the lesser time for you to prepare for that game to turn it around and go to Cincinnati. Is it home or is it at Cincinnati?
It's at Paul Brown. It's at Cincinnati.
Right, it's at Cincinnati. So even though we still have to travel on the road, well, we still have to travel back home, obviously.
I was just about to say that.
So, but the fact is, we're not actually going to have our actual. There was no point for them to travel back home and go back out in that shorter time period. They were better just staying in Baltimore with lesser facilities to prepare for the game. I mean, come on, that is just ridiculous when you really think about it. Like, if I was Jerry Jones right now, I'd be like, "Oh, Ravens organization, you guys are absolute pricks for doing that." By the way, right? Because honestly, like Graham and Brian and yourself all know what my thoughts were about that whole situation. Is the fact that, like, because if the Broncos played without a quarterback, yada yada yada, then why can't the Ravens? I'm sorry. Waiting just for Lamar, that's pretty much all it was. It was a stunt just to get Lamar Jackson on that football field.
Yes.
Really, and it's an absolute joke. It really is. Right?
I agree.
And I cannot say I cannot be any more angry about, like, besides like maybe throwing the TV screen about or throw the dog at the window or something like that. You know what I mean? But there needs to be a principle here. You can't just tell one team it's like tough luck, you still need to play.
Mm-hmm.
And tell another team, oh, not a problem, we wait till your golden boy becomes available again at the COVID list. Bravo, NFL, bravo. You know what I mean? It's an absolute, it's a bloody joke. And now it leaves us in the position now. We're given what, 3-4 days to prepare for Cincinnati on the road. Mm-hmm. Not enough time to go back home and analyse the film that we did with our facilities. We can't even do anything in the Star pretty much. So we're having to pretty much directly go from Baltimore straight to Cincinnati. Yeah. I mean, it's a joke. It's an absolute joke. And that's the thing that is worrying, though. It's the fact that we're going to have a lot. This is the only thing that I'm saying, like, we will likely to lose, is because the fact we have not prepared for this game, and it's an absolute given. We have literally have no time to prepare for this game. Besides letting our star, like any players who are capable of making a difference, heal up and try and get into the game, and just second guess it. Like, and this is what I'm going to predict. We're going to see a lot of simple plays out this game, and I don't know what your thoughts are, mate, but I just think it's just going to be, if we manage to get the win, it's going to be a miracle.
No. It's not a miracle. It's actually the stars. Yeah, the stars are aligned. When I've looked at this, in one particular area where the Cowboys could get a win here.
I still think we can get the win. I still think we can get the win if we just keep it, like, really straightforward and try not to overcomplicate it. Just do simple reads, whatever, not just stick to the, because their squad is diminished. I think their squad's even worse than ours, if I'm being perfectly honest, is it not?
Oh yeah. I mean, they're missing obviously Joe Burrow, which is a big miss. But they're also missing Joe Mixon as well. And AJ Green is very often injured as well with foot and ankle issues.
AJ Green should be bloody retired, I'm being perfectly honest with you. Last time I ever heard he had a bloody touchdown was probably about 2 years ago. Ever since then, he's like, oh, everyone keeps routing about, oh, AJ Green is still a top rated receiver. What is he, like? He's always injured.
Yeah. But what we'll do...
I've actually got a good comment from our video on Graham. He's asking how many Cowboys position groups are better than the Bengals, wide receiver, running back, etc. I'd still say our wide receiver core is better. Our running back core is better. Quarterback. Yeah.
O-line. Yeah, O-line, definitely. I've got a very interesting statistic that will help prove my point, which will come up a little later. But I tell you what, there's a good place to get into this. Let's look at the Cowboys offense, right?
Right.
And I have a question straight out the gate for you on Andy Dalton. Now, Andy Dalton, when he got to the Cowboys, we knew he was going to be the backup. And a lot of people turn around and say the Cowboys at that point, once we got Andy Dalton, we had quite possibly the best backup quarterback in the NFL. And you could say, yeah, okay, because he is the Bengals. He leads the Bengals in quarterback statistics in like a multitude of areas. He holds the record for the Bengals, right?
Yeah.
I know it's the Bengals, so there's much to say about that, but still, right? Now, I think his plan was always, look, get to the Cowboys, play backup, show a bit of spark, show that I've still got it, and then eventually I'll be able to get myself a decent 20, 25, 26, $27 million contract, right? As a starter somewhere. Maybe like Jacksonville. Jacksonville is a perfect place where really he was playing to show off his skills to get that starting position.
When you say 27 million contract, I hope you're assuming maybe like a 3-year deal of that total amount.
Yeah, but like whatever. Yeah. But that's what he was trying to get to.
I was kind of wondering what you were saying is like if no one's going to pay 27 million for 1 year of Andy Dalton.
No. But I would you say though, given the fact of what we've seen, right? Although I can counteract an argument here, is do you think what we've seen so far from Andy Dalton, he's really only proven that at this stage now in his career, he's only a backup quarterback?
Yeah. Sadly enough, that is the case. But at the same time, we don't know what Dalton could be capable with the offensive line that we are so used to having. We don't know. Like it feels like he is back at Cincinnati right now. If that kind of sounds like, because Andy Dalton was never given the right proper protection when he was at Cincinnati, and now he's at the Cowboys where he's now got a diminished offensive line. So you could say he's at the same scenario where he was before. Like he was kind of hoping that Tyron Smith would have been fit, Zach Martin would have been still playing, Lyle Collins would have been playing for the season. He's been out all year. But yeah, man, I kind of feel bad for him in a way because I know he like same with Ben DiNucci as well. So I feel like they were kind of put into this worst case scenario. Like I think Dalton did not expect to play any game time this year. Like,
there's the soft spot for this game, by the way.
None of them expected to play any games at all. None of them.
Yeah. But in terms of Andy Dalton, and I'll get to a little statistic about his last 3 games that will inspire you. But obviously, he's playing his old team, Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Which is more advantageous? Dalton being the quarterback or the ex-quarterback for Cincinnati playing against them, so he knows what that team's like, or is it more advantageous to Cincinnati knowing how Andy Dalton plays?
It's pretty much yin and yang. It doesn't.
You reckon it's about equal? It's a balanced scale.
It has to be. Like it'll be like any given Sunday. Like there'll be days, like even if it was like say for example, right? If Dak was to be at a different team, for example, right? Like touch wood, that's not going to happen. But just say, for example, right? Dak was at a different team. I don't know. Say, the Cardinals or something like that, right? And we were playing against the Cardinals again. And Dak knows our defense is staying, but our defense knows Dak. It's going to be the same scenario. They know the strengths because they've played so many times in scrimmages and training camp and practices and stuff like that. They would know what each other's traits are. I would say the only advantage would be always towards the defense because you always have a new player added in to that defense that you might be not so aware of. So if I was to edge it when it comes to Andy Dalton, I will give it to the Cincinnati defense only just because there could be some players that were brought in after Andy Dalton that he has no idea what they're like.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. But here's one for you, right? Now, I tell you what, let's get the question straight out the gate here. Right, okay, yeah. Should the Cowboys be bothered winning this game or worry about draft ranking? I mean, we spoke about that at literally the first, straight out the gate, at the start of the show. They have to win. I mean, it's the NFL. You always play to win. I mean, not only that, the big thing for me is that right now, especially for the Cowboys, coaches and players right now are playing for a job. That's the biggest one.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Graham and Brian touched up on this on yesterday. Was it yesterday? Or was it no?
Yesterday, I don't know. This week's just been a blur with it all.
Yeah. Thanks again, Ravens, for screwing up our schedule. Brian and Graham touched on it the other day there, and we all know that McCarthy's still going to be here next year because of the contract. Yeah. Like if he was to sack McCarthy, if Jerry was to sack McCarthy, then they have to pay him out, to the value of the contract essentially, or something like that. I assume that's what would happen. You would expect Mike Nolan to be Offski. You would expect him to go. Kellen Moore, there's a lot of talk of him even going to the Lions right now. Which
as head coach,
as a head coach, So I don't know if you guys have noticed that, read the news articles. The Lions are strongly considering getting Kellen Moore on for next year. So
I think Vegas, they put the odds out on who will be the next head coach, and Kellen Moore I think was 4th, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
So he's in the mix. That puts him in the mix anyway, at least.
Don't get us wrong. We have been critical of Kellen a few times. He's been great.
I like him. See, I like him as a coordinator.
I like him as well. But there has been times where, and again, I'm using our good friend Tyson West Coast as a good example here. We were in the red zone during that game against Baltimore.
I know. Yeah.
It was the 3 run plays. It was the exact same 3 plays, but the only difference is the first down was going to the left. The second down was the same play, but going to the right. Then he reverted back, going to the left again. And all 3 attempts, I don't think we actually gained 1 yard on that.
Yes, we went backwards, actually.
We went backwards. So that is poor decision making from Kellen's part.
I don't know. I'm not entirely. I think execution wise, he can only make the call, and then they've got to execute. And that, to me, is more of a failure on the O-line.
Well, there's that as well. But if the defense is like, they're running it again, let's just do what we did before. Like, it's the way how the position and stuff like that. If they're going to run the same play, then I'm just going to do the exact same thing again. Like,
I know where you're coming from. I know where you're coming from.
For Moore, what he should have done is he should have read the scenario, what went wrong in that first down, and readjust and tried something else, like a different type of run play, if it's going through the middle, or maybe a toss to the running back, or a stream pass, or something like that, just to see what type of reads that defense were giving us as well. Don't run the same play. Don't run the same play to the opposite side and thinking it's going to work. No. Then revert back to the original play in the first down. That is just that I cannot forgive him for. But on the other side, there has been times where he's been a stroke of genius. Where the hell did that happen? You know. So like for me, like I do like Kellen Moore, but he can be a little bit hot and cold.
He can, but on the flip side of that, all I would say is that, like, all coordinators have their times where they make a bad call. All of them.
I just realised we kind of drifted away from the original question there from Aaron there. So should we be bothered winning about the game or winning about the ranking? We can end up talking about the coaches.
They have to win.
My answer for that, Aaron, is like, we need to win, and it's obviously what Mike was just saying. The coaches and players need to win for their jobs. We've got 29 players. We've got 29 players. They're going to go into free agency. They're all fighting for a job, and obviously the coaching staff as well. So, but if you were to try and lower down for the drafting, we're not going to exactly bring in 29 draftees or 29 free agents to replace all those other 29 free agents. We still need to re-sign some of these players who still want to be part of this team. So dropping down is no option. And Graham made a great comment on this earlier. I'll bring it up. Why would the current player stop playing hard so the team can draft their replacement higher in the draft? That is the nail in the coffin there, and that is exactly why we need to win.
Yeah, definitely. But going back to our Andy Dalton talk, and we can move on further into what we were discussing. Here's an interesting one that will inspire you and give you some confidence. Looking at the statistics, right? In the last 3 games for Andy Dalton, he's averaged per game a 68% completion rate, 234 yards a game, average over those 3 games, then 6 touchdowns and 3 interceptions.
As an average, 6 touchdowns?
No. And then 6 touchdowns and 3 interceptions over those 3 games.
Over those 3 games, right? Okay.
Yeah. The average, the 68% and the 234 is an average.
So it's a 2-to-1 ratio, pretty much, you're getting.
Yeah. With like over 200 yards in the air.
I mean, that is like a box standard. Like it kind of goes back to the whole Andy Dalton is the 500 quarterback.
Yeah, the Dalton scale. Yeah,
it's the Dalton scale. Like that to me is like that should be your above average type of scale point. Like get more touchdowns than interceptions and get above 250 yards a game.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good start, pretty much, especially in fantasy football as well.
Which is where we always end up falling to. But yeah. I mean, the issue, of course, is like people talk about our receiving core. The issue at the moment is Michael Gallup being the non-factor, because Gallup makes his living downfield on the deep pass. When Dak was there, although the narrative oddly was Dak can't make the deep pass.
Although, like Gallup did get targeted in that game there, like
as a change, yeah. No, I'm eating my own words on that one. He did. You're right. Yeah.
Like there was the touchdown attempt in the 3rd down, which was to be honest, it wasn't the greatest of passes. Like Gallup was wide open. It was there for a touchdown, and he just kind of overshot it.
Yes.
I think that was like in the first drive, I think, and we had to settle for the field goal, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So there was that, and obviously there was a play that we kind of went out of bounds. But other than that, like it was just kind of quiet. Like wasn't many targets he got. I'm pretty sure.
No, he hasn't since Dak's left. To be honest with you, he's been very much a quiet non-factor. In fact, going back to fantasy, if you drafted him, I can guarantee people have either dropped him or benched him, which is sad to say.
Oh, that's for fantasy, for sure. Yeah, but here's a question. I want to get the people that are watching this, their opinion as well. Do you think now with Michael Gallup not getting as many touchdowns, do you think it's based on the Joneses kind of putting an influence to the coaches? This is a wee conspiracy theory I'm thinking here. Is try and get Michael Gallup to sign a long-time deal. Is maybe not target him so much.
I don't know about that. The one thing that
it's a bit of a reach. It's a bit of a reach to say that.
Yeah. I'm with you.
But you can see where I'm coming from, because since Dak's not there, like we all know that Dak's going to get a contract. Like, well, it's not going to be as much he was kind of hoping for now because of the injury. That's going to have to step up. He still make that money back from endorsements, absolutely, because he's America's quarterback, America's team's quarterback. Sorry, the world's team. But with Gallup, he does need. The point I'm trying to make is, like, do we see ourselves now getting Michael Gallup on a longer term top contract, a new extension now, because we're not seeing as much action from him?
Yeah, I mean, his issue, I think, more than anything, has been the O-line. So your quarterback, who happens to be, whether it's DiNucci or Dalton, have had to release the ball quicker and sooner. So that puts Michael Gallup, who, as we said, makes his living downfield on the deep pass.
He creates his separation by going downfield, definitely.
That's his bread and butter. But I mean, One of the things that's quite interesting is Stephen Jones today made a comment about Dak Prescott. He came out and made his comment, and they asked him about Dak Prescott and getting his contract. And today, Stephen Jones said, and I quote, "Our issues in our negotiations with Dak have been that we're wanting to be more committed in terms of the number of years. We're not nervous. Hold on. We're not nervous to sign Dak. His makeup is all the right things. He's a great leader. He's a great player. He's our player." So there is that. The issue we've got is because of this year with everything that's happened with COVID, reduced fans, reduced income, all the rest of it. The issue that they're saying is the projected, which I don't think will be. I think because the NFLPA tried to make a deal with the NFL about the cap space for 2021. If it stays the way that it is, though, the cap space for every team is 175 million. Now, they are trying to change that to 195. If it stays at 175 million, we don't even have enough money to tag Dak. We would have 25.6 million on the cap.
Yeah.
And if we were to tag Dak, he would be close to 37, 38 million.
Crap.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. It's bad. But
probably here.
So it's hard to say Zeke has underperformed this year when he gets tackled for one guy against. This is exactly what I was talking about in our pregame show the other week. So obviously there's no consistent holes being open for him because of our lousy line. That's very true. Very, very, very true.
Yeah, I wouldn't say lousy though, Tim. I would say inexperienced. That's probably the better word to say, because there is a statistic.
There is a statistic. The one that I mentioned on the last pregame show where Zeke actually has the worst being contacted. His point of contact yardage is the worst in the NFL. He's getting contacted 0.8 yards at the point. So that means he gets the ball, takes one step, and he's getting tackled.
Yeah.
That is the O-line. That is the O-line.
Yeah.
But I will get to the O-line because there's something that will inspire you again. See, I'm trying to make some nice points here. All the crap points seem to be on defense. But here's a big one. The Bengals defense versus tight end. They actually rank worst in the NFL in terms of yards allowed. They're 32nd in the NFL when defending tight ends.
So you're saying Dalton Schultz is likely going to be the primary target?
Dalton Schultz is having a big game this week, right? But bear in mind, Dalton Schultz right now in the NFL, based on as well, when I was saying the other week, a few weeks back, for me, Dalton Schultz has been my most surprising player. Here's the reason why. He is in the NFL 11th in receiving yards in the tight end group, 7th in targets, and 6th in receptions. And this is a guy who we were all talking about getting released.
Yep.
He's 6th in the NFL in receptions, and he's about to play the worst team in the NFL when defending tight ends.
Interesting.
See, I told you I would bring you up a little bit. I'd try and spur you on a nice Friday evening.
I know you always do, mate. I know you always do. For me, I'm not trying to be. Dalton has kind of been quiet from game to game as well. So yeah, this could be an coming out party for him. Who knows?
Yes.
I mean, like I said, guys, get your comments in. We want to know what your thoughts are on how we stand for this game against the Cincinnati Bengals. Do we feel that the preparation for this game is out of abysmal? Do you think we have a chance of winning? What do you think the score is going to be? Send in your comments. You guys, it's just two old duffers like us are just talking football.
Yeah, having a beer. Yeah. But here's another one. Here's another one that's going to inspire you again on offense. Right tackle Terrence Steele, right? So this guy, believe it or not, looking at it, and I've been watching it, and I watched the tape, and I made notes on it. Terrence Steele, undrafted free agent, I might add, Terrence Steele, has made massive gains. Like, to a point where you're like, holy crap.
Gains as in that, or what?
As in his ability to play the position. This guy, right? His first 8 games. Let me give you his first 8 games whilst playing right tackle for the Dallas Cowboys. He allowed 7 sacks, 8 quarterback hurries, and the same in quarterback hits. Right? In his last 3 games, are you ready for this? Last 3 games, 0 sacks, 0 quarterback hurries, 0 hits. This guy has developed in a way where you're like, oh, hold on a minute. And I've been looking at it. What has changed is 2 things. One is his hand placement. He is using his hands at perfect time. The guy, when I've watched it, has an unbelievable punch. His punch is knocking defensive ends completely off their rush.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The other one, which has gotten better, is his footwork. He's now got a wider stance and he's kick sliding with perfect timing. The only trouble he's got is when he gets one-on-one against a speed rusher. Every time I've seen it, if he's against a defensive end who has a speed rush, he's still not quite there yet. That is something to develop. But you look, this is a guy that's gone from 7 sacks, so nearly a sack a game, in the last 3 games, straight across the board, flat. Nothing.
I don't know what to say, I'll be honest, mate. I really don't.
Check that out. How do you like them apples?
I mean, I think we're still kind of in that mindset. Like, now you've kind of laid out the stats in terms of that. We didn't actually mention Terrence Steele during the game. We've not mentioned anything about him, which is always a good thing. But what we did say is whenever we saw him in the starting lineup, we're like, oh, God. So I think we're still in that mentality because we're still thinking about the past 8 games.
Yeah. I know, obviously, and with Ed...
I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty of it because when I saw that Terrence Steele was back in, I'm like, oh, great, here we go, all over again. But it seems to be the case that he's actually
developing.
He's developing. So good on him. I'm happy for him.
Definitely. And from an undrafted free agent as well.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the way he's progressing, then great. Then for next year to be back up to Lyle Collins, who can learn a lot more from him, then great.
And you could kick him inside into guard position.
Well, that I was going to mention. I'm kind of worried about the guard situation now. That I was not too thrilled with who was playing. It was Conor McGovern, or I was Conor McGovern. I was not too thrilled about how he was playing in that game or the previous game. Not too thrilled about it at all. Like we've been talking about him as potentially a starter and all that stuff for before the season.
He was supposed to be, yeah.
But I don't see it now. I really don't. I see a lot of flaws, especially playing in the guard position. He overcommits too much to a block, and defensive tackles just use his momentum to get out the way. It's happened too many times now.
Yeah. I know we're talking a lot here on the offense. We've like ripping through the show's time on offense. The only thing I'm going to leave you with, I mean, it's Friday. We got beer. We talk. So what? The only other thing I'm going to leave you with on offense is a very interesting fact, right? That receptions per game, right? Receptions per game. The top 3 in Cowboys history, receptions per game average, right now, are on this team.
That
is real. Receptions per game.
Right.
That historically historical stats on receptions per game. Thinking, right? Mind you, think about the type of wide receivers the Cowboys have had on their roster, right? Right now, the top two of the top three wide receivers to have the most receptions per game average are on this roster right now. That the player with the most receptions per game average in Cowboys history is Amari Cooper.
Sorry, mate.
You're right. I can see her. She's all right. Ah, the elephant. Yeah. Amari Cooper actually has 5.6 receptions per game. That ranks first in Cowboys history. Second is Terrell Owens with exactly 5. And third is our rookie CD Lamb with 4.9.
So it's a hell of a lot more than Dez.
Yeah, I know. More than Michael Irvin.
What the hell?
Isn't that crazy?
All right, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Man.
So, and that is what I'm going to leave you with on offense. So, there we go. Little factoid for you. But what I was trying to illustrate more than anything is how good of a rookie season CD Lamb's having, but also how under the radar Amari Cooper is right now on offense. Nobody is talking about him. Nobody's saying how great of a season. Do you know Amari Cooper is actually on pace to have a career season this year?
Yeah, Brian mentioned that in the show, I'm pretty sure, the other day, though.
Yeah, he's having a career season in terms of like all the most major stats.
And even more so what he did with the Raiders, even more so.
Yeah, and that's Cowboys and Raiders. Yeah. So it's pretty crazy when you look at that, but that's the way.
I think it's the way because he's not your typical flamboyant type of wide receiver that tries to talk all the time. Like your
that's what it is.
Like your Mike Warmers, he's so low profiled.
Yeah.
When it comes to the media, because he doesn't.
And this is a type of guy who literally he will play his game, get on the bus, and go home, and that's it.
Yeah.
There we go.
Like he takes football as his job. Now, like he's there to work. If he doesn't perform, he's not ready at that payday.
Yeah. But he's a great player. He's doing the actual bomb for the Cowboys. He's like in the top. I think in the top 7. I think he's 7th or 6th in first downs in the NFL for wide receivers. So there you go. We're getting first downs. It's just with Amari Cooper, who's in double coverage with a backup quarterback who doesn't have an O-line. All right, let's get into defense. We need to borrow. Question. We need to borrow the Chiefs coach and players dressed out in Cowboys gear. Period.
Well, if only if we give Andy Reid the keys to the star, man, we might have give him a banquet of all the Christmas stuff.
He'll have all the burgers he wants. Right. Okay. Yeah. Defense. This is where it all falls apart. Right. So. You know,
when we're going to talk about defense, I do want to defend DeMarcus Lawrence. I do want to defend him.
I do too. I think he's doing great. Look at his tackles for loss, quarterback hurries, and pressures. He is right at the top of the league.
Yeah, people say, but he's not got any sacks and stuff like that. That may be true. But
he's not a pass rusher though.
But it was the Lamar Jackson play.
That is the killer.
Yeah, like so everyone was talking about that. And when I was evaluating the film, I was like, okay, initially all the offense were all to the right hand side, so that makes DeMarcus Lawrence the weak side. So his job initially was to be contained.
But he overrun.
Well, he kind of overrun, but let me finish. So
go on.
When the third slot receiver moved to the other side and now became neutral, where that running back is positioned, that now becomes the strong side. So now D-Law now became the strong player. What was failed to be done was Jalen didn't back out because he was doubling the weak side.
Yeah.
He was doubling that weak side. And because of that, that left Van Der Esch to now track the running back who was going in the opposite direction. And that's what left the left tackle and the left guard to do the kick out and push upfield and take out D-Law and take out number 23, Darren Thompson. And that's what created that whole gap. So if it was anyone to blame, it was our linebackers failed to readjust and read that. Was this like our corners adjusted, they repositioned perfectly fine. But our linebackers didn't. Like Jalen should have known it's like, okay, I'm on the weak side now. The ball is unlikely. I've got a defensive end right beside me. He can take the weak side, and I can pull back a couple of yards to see what is going to happen, and that takes the pressure off Van Der Esch. But that failed to happen.
Yeah, and here's the ironic thing, right? Here's something I was going to ask you about the defense, which is leading very nicely into the narrative that you're chucking out right now. I watched that game, watched how bad the linebackers were out of position, but not just out of position. Jalen Smith is slow. I don't know what's going on there, and I'm noticing it now in this game. That guy is slow running, slow reaction, but the linebackers are out of position. Do you agree with this statement? Right now on defense, the defense is bad. The Cowboys' defense is bad. But position group wise, for me, linebacker's the worst.
I agree. And
for me, worst is linebacker, then defensive backs, then the D-line. D-line is the best out of the three position groups.
Which is considering...
Which is crazy to say. But I'm not... Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's great. I'm saying, though...
if you were to picture the worst of the bad bunch,
yeah.
But yeah, I totally agree, man. I kind of like, even before the season started, when we were just about to start, we were only going in with 4 linebackers essentially, like in the roster.
Yeah. And one of them was Sean Lee, the oft injured.
Yeah, so there was Gifford. Was it Gifford?
Yeah, who was suspended.
So suspended now. LVE and Jalen, and we've been pretty much just been playing day 2, and ever since then we've had Bernard come in from maybe the odd play, who's been mostly in special teams, but other than that, we've been very short-handed at linebacker. We've not had any depth, no backups, no third down replacements for the linebackers. They've just been in and all out in that. And that could be another thing as well. They could be absolutely, I'm not trying to throw an excuse, but they could be absolutely exhausted.
Yeah. I think some of it would just go to this question. Honestly, right now, it's hard to decide which team wants to win more. But I would say the offense will do well against this team. So he's given the win to Dallas. Oh, my bad. Sorry. Sorry, I'm taking a job away from you there, sir. I do apologize.
Yeah, that's my role, you.
But, right.
It makes a good point there. Like, I can see what's coming from that. Of course, the offense always do want to win. I feels like with our defense, they do have the right. Like, they do want to win. They do. Like, if any player does on defense that doesn't want to win, then they shouldn't be playing football. That's a God-given fact. But when it comes to your argument's sake, I think it could be the fact that they're not rotating well enough.
No, it's scheme. I've seen it.
Well, I think it's scheme as well. I think I was trying to go into that, but I'm thinking, especially from my line, like I'm thinking more to like adding my previous point to this point as well, is we don't have enough people in that certain position to rotate through to give our starters time to breathe. And that's how you're kind of saying it, like when it comes to Jalen there, he looked hell of a slow. For all we know, he could be bloody absolutely puffed out of his nut already from the previous play.
Very true. But for me, the linebackers, they're out of position and they're missing assignments. And they're not taking block assignments correctly. And to me, right, when you stop and you say, but, like 2 years ago, a little bit even last year, they were doing it fine. Then all of a sudden this year, they're not. Are you telling me that Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch all of a sudden this year have forgotten how to play linebacker?
Yeah.
To me, that speaks scheme. That is what they're being asked and told and coached what to do, and it's not fitting in their mind what's the right way to go about it. So I'm going to ask you a question, and I'll ask everyone at home. Do you think, right, although Mike Nolan is Mike McCarthy's like best friend, do you think Mike Nolan is gone before week 17?
Week 17 is at any point?
Hell yeah. Because I'm thinking, does Mike McCarthy say, you didn't do the job, let's cut you before week 17, I'll take one of my position coaches just to see what I've got. You've got nothing to lose.
Well, if we're in a position where we're not going to get any in a worse position, and there's a chance we could actually get a better position for the players' sake, then yeah, go for it.
Yeah,
I would get rid of him. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I say cut your losses at week 16 if he's not getting the job done. Get into week 17 and just to see what you've got. Not so much in your coaches, but more in what you've got in your players.
I'll be honest. I think one of the first people to go would be our cornerbacks coach. I think he'll be
I don't know. The defensive back coach. I don't know.
Yeah, because it was a bit of a big leap for him to go. It was from Texas A&M he came from.
Yes, it was. He was the defensive back coach at Texas.
Yeah, for him to go up to us. I don't know, but I kind of made a wee comment on the other day there. If we could somehow get our former linebacker coach back in. Close. Yeah, if we could get him as our DC, but he's doing so many good things for the Colts right now. He's trying. I think
me and you were talking about it actually.
We talked about it, but I also sent the comment into Brian.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. I do apologize. Yeah, that's where it came from. Right. So let's get into the defense. I'll give you some statistics, and then I'll give you some other statistics which will help take the pressure off. But then I'll bring it back again. All right. So first of all, the Dallas Cowboys defense, last in points allowed. We are 32nd on points allowed, but it just doesn't end there. It does not end there. We are also last in rushing yards allowed. Yards per...
Not even against starters, against third string running backs.
And fishermen. Yards per carry average, we allow 5.2 yards per carry.
Jesus.
Yeah. Okay, doesn't end there. Third down defense. We rank 30th.
I would have thought we would have been worse, especially after that game against Baltimore.
We rank 30th. In takeaways, we have 11 takeaways on defense. That ranks 31st. Yay. But here is an interesting fact. Since Joe Burrow has gone out injured with that disastrous injury, I mean, you never want to see it. And I like Joe Burrow. We spoke about him quite a lot during our draft shows in the offseason. Yeah. Since Joe Burrow's gone out, Cincinnati Bengals have scored a grand total of 2 touchdowns, 1 in garbage time.
So that you're talking about what? That's 4 games, 5 games?
4 games.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. But I'm going to bring it back. Here's one allowed for you. Something the Cowboys historically are going to break on defense. 2 historical stats on defense the Cowboys are about to break. So at the moment, as it currently stands, the Cowboys on defense, points allowed, they're on a pace to allow, by the end of the season, 524 points. There have been 5 teams in the history of the NFL that have allowed more than 500 points on the season, right? Now, they're about to allow 524 points for the season. That's what they're on pace for. There's only ever been one other team that has allowed more points. And that was the Ravens team back in 1981.
I
And that was
I thought you were going to say it was us.
No. The Ravens. But listen to this. They allowed 533 points. That's how bad this Cowboys defense is against scoring offenses. That if they allow just 9 points more over the next 4 games, they will break an all-time record historically. The other one that they're about to break is the 1963 Dallas Cowboys record. The one, remember I said it was when I was talking to you at the start of the show that when they went 3-8, the best that they did was 4 wins. That was in 1963. That defense, though, they allowed 13 games of 20 points or more allowed. Right now, in 2020, they're on 12. So they're about to break 2 historical records. Most points allowed on the season, which the Ravens allowed it, which was 533 points. They're on pace for 524. They have a bad game and allow a bit more than that. They'll break the Ravens record in 1981. The other one is games of 20 points or more allowed. They're about to break that one.
Man, this is depressing as fuck.
Yeah. So what I will do is bring it back again for you. Okay. So the biggest issue on the Cowboys defense is run defense. Yeah. Joe Mixon is officially out for this game. So, like I said, I'm trying to bring things back for you. All right. So that means that their lead running back is Giovanni Bernard. Right.
Well, I will say this: Bernard is no slouch. He's no
slouch. He is no slouch. I agree.
He's still a threat. He is he can still. There was a point where he was getting 100-yard games at one point. That wasn't too long ago. You're probably talking about 3-4 years ago.
Yes. But here's an interesting one. He has not had a 100-yard game this or last season. Okay.
Yeah, well, that's because of Joe Mixon.
It is one of the factors, yeah, of course. But Giovanni Bernard, he makes his living as a mixed running back. But the big thing that he is he's not a lead running back. He is a change of pace running back. I don't care what you say. Right now, at this stage in his career, that is what he is. He's a change of pace. And one of the interesting factors where Gio is good, not just on the ground, but in the air. The big factor about this defense, if you can figure this out, right? The big factor of the Cowboys defense is they have not allowed a single receiving touchdown to a running back this season.
The Cowboys have.
The Cowboys have 0 touchdowns, receiving touchdowns to a running back.
I think you're wrong on that one. Wasn't our first game of the season Malcolm Brown?
No. They have no receiving touchdowns to a running back. I've checked it.
Nah.
Yeah. Check it right now. I'll let you have the time while I talk, and you can check it.
I'll believe it, mate. I'll believe it. I'm pretty sure that happened the first game of the season. I'm pretty sure.
No, not yet. Now the issue, though.
I tell you what. Where's Lorne? Where you need him, Lorne? Where's Lorne? The man with all knowledge. Where's Lorne? Where you need him?
Yeah.
I know
currently, from the running back position, that we haven't allowed a touchdown, a receiving touchdown to a running back. So that's quite interesting because that's one of the elements of Gio's game. Can be his receiving, but that is not something that we're going to be worried about. Now, the good news is with Burrow out, that's not good news. But the good news in terms of who we're up against, we're against Arkansas's running back, Brandon Allen. Not much to worry about there. I've checked it. Does he scare you?
I've never even heard of him, so I can't really comment. I'll be
No.
perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, it's not much to care about at all. But the one thing I will say that does scare me on their offense is Tyler Boyd. That guy can cut and run.
That is without doubt the biggest threat to our defense. As any given chance that Tyler Boyd is open, you're bound to. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is; he's going to be the primary target for sure.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. T. Higgins is coming on nicely. He's had like sort of sporadic moments where he's looking quite good. I think give him some time. Keep him on the field, learn some experience. I reckon he could be quite a very decent wide receiver eventually. The only thing I will say about this offense that are doing really, really good, which is going to put pressure on the Cowboys defense, is their fourth down efficiency. It is right up there. Did you know this, right? The Bengals offense on fourth down, out of 21 attempts, they have done it 17 times. That's a completion rate of 81% on fourth down.
God. Right.
Yeah. If I was the Cowboys defense, I would be getting ready for a busy night. A busy one.
This is going to kind of go back to my previous argument. So rotation. We need
rotation. Yeah.
Yeah, like it doesn't matter. Like we can't keep all players on at the field all the time because they're going to be absolutely gassed out, and it's yeah. If they're going to be running all the time in fourth downs, like you just kind of said there, it's not going to give them a break at all.
Yeah, they're going to be busy. They're going to be busy guys, without a doubt. But for me, most important guy on defense, and I'll ask you and everyone at home as well. For me, most important guy for this game on defense for me is Leighton Vander Esch. I know he came out, said in the press, look, I made mistakes. I bet on plays. I didn't think. I overreacted and overthought about what I was doing. I think this game, Leighton Vander Esch, and I said about the last game. I said it about the last game. He was the most important guy on defense. Turned out fairly true because when he was out of position, the Ravens scored. Leighton Vander Esch, I think, in this game is just important. For you, who is the most important guy on defense, Paul?
It's either a toss-up between Jalen and Vander Esch, I think. It's a
linebacker core.
Yeah, I've actually, so I think you're actually kind of nailed it, mate, to be honest. Yeah, like I'm not our defensive line. Like we're kind of in a lucky situation. We've not got many injuries to that unit.
Yeah.
We're playing against a broken down Bengals O line. They've always been broken, pretty much.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So we should expect a couple of sacks at least. We should.
You think so? And I think as well, I don't think it'll be coming from Tank, which is going to cause a narrative issue. I think it's going to be coming more than anything from Randy Gregory and the linebackers.
I've actually got another question in from Tim Warner.
Just reading that.
I have to say, Tim, I love your profile picture, mate. I wish I was out doing that right now, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you're right there.
So his question is, in game 1 of last season, we started getting gashed right down the middle and it was carried over to this season. That's fair enough. So why wasn't this addressed by our new coach? And it doesn't seem he's tried very hard to get at this. Your question? Well, I mean...
I disagree. I think they did try to address it. They addressed it by taking Neville Gallimore. The guy needs more weight, needs more of an anchor, some sand in his pants. But I think they are trying to. And And don't forget, Tristan Hill was there, and he was coming on very nicely.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. When you kind of said like that, I wouldn't say that was down to the coaching, though. Like, I think Tim, I assume you're kind of referring to the play with Lamar Jackson because that ball was going right up the middle. I assume
that was Leighton Vander Esch out of position.
Yeah.
Van Der Esch pulled, and he got himself out of position. He had to keep gap integrity on that one.
Yeah. So if it's that play that you're talking about, I can break that one down. So say all my fingers, my big fat chubby fingers are the 5 offensive linemen for the Ravens.
Don't put yourself down like that. You haven't got chubby fingers. They're beautiful.
Oh, shut up, you. Right. so the left guard and the left tackle, they pulled and went all the way behind the right tackle. And whereas the three, they slanted back inside. So that kind of creates a new pocket. So technically, it may look like watching it from a flash gap, it's going through the middle, but in fact, it's actually going to the outside of the right tackles. It's actually going out.
And Van Der Esch pulled.
And that's the fact, and Van Der Esch read it wrong. So I assume that's what you were kind of referring to in terms of not addressing the ball on it. But in terms of overall for the season, yeah, there has been a few more. I kind of see where
I agree there. Then
I see where it's coming from. There has been scenarios where we've not done that, but we did fix that by getting rid of particular players, which was the one I shall not name.
Mm-hmm. And Everson Griffin.
Yeah. So we have rectified that, Tim, by, like you said there, Mike, bringing in. So hold on. So he's now replied. So no, I was referring to the middle of the line where we've been run through between 2 tackles for 2 seasons now. Right. Okay. So, so it kind of leads back to what Mike was saying. Then we got rid of the dead wood that we did have, which was Dontari Poe and Everson Griffin, because they were not helping matters in the middle of that field. We were getting slaughtered every time whenever Poe was
and bear in mind, they did try to address it, even with Gerald McCoy, and he got pretty much killed before the season even started with that nasty knee injury.
It's like all the right intentions were done, like to try
and also Tristan Hill went on to IR as well, and he was coming along nicely.
Yeah. So I know it's going to sound so crap to say this, but it just didn't really work out as what we hoped for.
No, really. Injuries again, the mainstays of the factors.
Well,
but
there's injuries, and there was players that were just taking the piss.
If you mean in terms of Poe and Griffin, I agree.
Yes,
but I will say they have tried to address it. But out of the light of those injuries, we've got to see Canadian bulldozer Neville Gallimore, see what he's made of. And turns out he's doing fine. And Antoine Woods has come on quite nicely too over the last few years.
So Antoine Woods, he's a big fan favourite, especially here in the UK Cowboys. I've met Antoine personally. I'm in the fortunate position I can actually call him a friend of mine, which I'm quite happy. Right, I'm due to play some video games. The human law. I'm due to play some video games with him soon online. So no, you cannot join in. It's private. I've been talking about Neville Gallimore for ages, way before the draft. This is the guy who I wanted to come in for the Dallas Cowboys. I actually wanted him in the first round. That's how crazy I really wanted the guy. The fact that we got him
the Cowboys wanted him in the second round.
Well, there you go. But we all knew that it would be a matter of time. He will make the team. Well, no, he already is make the team, but be a starter. But he's now
as a permanent fixture.
Permanent fixture, but he is starting to cement that already slowly. But he's still developing as he's playing along. So
he's a rookie.
He's a rookie. But what I'm saying is, it's going on for next season when we've got Tristan Hill back, and we've got. Like Gallimore and Woods, who I expect to get in our contract. He's one of the free agents going on one of the 29 free agents. I expect him to sign a new extension. Hopefully, I would hate to see him go personally, because to me he's been one of the only guys in the team that actually shows some heart towards the team, especially again the game against Pittsburgh when Juju tried to go over to the star. That to me, that to me is like that's taking pride of the team. Taking pride. He doesn't take it as much more as a job. Like he is proud to be in this team, you know. Mm-hmm. So,
and I mean, like as well, you got to think that. And I said it to you guys with Tristan Hill, and as it turns out, Tristan Hill this year developing nicely. When the rookies come in, you've got to give them time. It's not just development time, but you've got to give them time to put some mass on, to give them a bit more of an anchor. These are college kids coming into an adult game. They need to put some sand in their pants, and when they do, then you're going to see a different player, as you did with Tristan Hill from year 1 to Tristan Hill year 2. Tristan Hill year 3, different player again. And I always say, like, defensive tackle and O-line are the two I always talk most about look at what they're like in year 3. That will be where you find out who that player is.
It's yes and no. There are some players there's some players that are the exception. That have
there always is. There always is. Yeah.
Like, for example, Tyron Smith, he's been a star since day 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like
Malik Collins was too.
Malik Collins was, but but the thing is though, they already took on the pro season like programming to build that strength and conditioning, build that bulk up at an early age.
And you got to think as well, like at that age when you're in your rookie season, you've got to find the thing that can get you over that hump for that year. Then you can get into the development side, you know. Yep. But that's what it is for me. But the other good thing is we'll get to see some more Reggie Robinson II. We will get more of an evaluation on him. And obviously, he hasn't got a huge tape to show you right now, but we'll get to see him again this week. And if the injuries on corner stay the way they are, then we'll see Rashard Robinson as well. So a double Robinson for us. If the way it goes, the way it goes. I mean, the way it goes is if Anthony Brown ends up not playing, Rashard Robinson, he's our cornerback 1. But there we go.
You know me. I try not to stay in the conversation of corners and stuff like that. Mine's has always been a D-line. You know me.
Yeah, no, of course, yeah. And going back to the D-line, going back to Tim Warner's question, you can't forget as well next year, talking about addressing D-line, you'll have a developed Bradley and I as well.
See, that's one thing I've been like. That's kind of annoyed me the most, right? Is we've actually do have a natural speed rusher in Bradley and I, where there's been situations where he could have been in there to help rotate, maybe the likes of Alden Smith, get the less physical, tire out that offensive tackle where he slowed down, now hit him with the speed rush. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't understand why Bradley's not been given any reps in the game at all.
I have asked the question, and it's about development, apparently.
It could be a size thing because he is a wee bit undersized. I get that. So
it's the same with Reggie Robinson as well. Reggie Robinson's same with Bradley and I. They're both in an issue of development.
If that's the case, then why? Then again, it's a different coach. He said that. I was already make that argument about Tackle Charlton.
And anyway, there you go.
That's a different story.
Yeah. But you see, but you make a good point, right? With Taco, is you need to strike on your first round pick. What you're seeing with this D-line and the defense is literally an echo from taking a bad first round pick. If you had gone TJ Watt, we'd be having a different conversation.
I still shoot myself. Why the hell did we not take him?
we were going bananas. And we're like 3,000 miles across the Atlantic, wondering what the hell that was about.
No, 4,000. We're over 4,000 miles.
Yeah, for over 4,000. Yeah, depending, mind you, depending like how many shortcuts you take.
And not to mention, we were up to about 3 o'clock in the morning watching this live.
Yeah, with a beer.
Yeah, so
and coffee.
So just to show everyone from the States the lengths that us here at the UK Cowboys do just to watch football, even for the draft, it can be hard. This is why I'm a 34-year-old man who looks like I'm a day going closer to my grave at the age of 60 right now. I've got grey hairs coming at the side of my head. I don't feel like I'm 34, and it's because I'm staying out late because of this
Mate,
team.
Don't put yourself down. I say this every time. You're a beautiful young man. Stop saying these things.
I'm just trying to give our viewers the best the extremes we go through.
Yeah, man.
The extremes we do to watch Cowboys football, either it's good or bad.
Yeah. I mean, like the crazy one. I always remember last year we did a show, and Big Game James, who by the way is next week's special guest. Yeah. We got Big Game James to come on the show, and it's me and Jamie were Big Game James. And me and Jamie, we've been up all Saturday, right? All Saturday night watching college football. Then the Cowboys with a late game on Sunday night. So we was up then on Sunday night till like 3-4 o'clock in the morning here in the UK watching that. So by the time it got to doing the post-game show with Big Game James, like we was just both staring at the screen like square-eyed, like, what the hell is going on? And Big Game James was like, don't worry, man, I'll be your coffee. But man, that is, like you say, that is exactly what it's like. It's delirium set in most often for us lot, especially at the start of the week, mate. Well, in fact, I know you can recall. Remember that weird conversation me and you had after the Thursday night game? I'm like, we're on the phone for an hour.
Oh, God,
Yeah. That conversation, man. I don't know how we got there. It started with talking about Chappelle's stand-up comedy and ended up talking about lampposts or something.
I don't even know, but either way, it's done and dusted. We're pure, yeah.
Right, okay, let's get into it then before this goes completely off track. I want your score predictions. We've got some coming in.
Yeah.
Send us them all in. I've got my score predictions for this game. The Cowboys I always predict the Cowboys to win. I'm pretty boring, but there we go. I'll get yours, Paul. Go on, sorry.
Did you just burp?
I did, yeah. I've had too much beer. I'm sorry. Yeah, I am trying. I should have pressed the old cough button. But here we go. Okay, I've got the Cowboys to win. Dalton Schultz having a stormer of a game. Pads Andy Dalton's stats as well. Dalton to Dalton. Cowboys win this one 27-14. Pow! Just like that.
Oh, cheers for the comment, Pete. Pink Bayman is loving our Christmas jumpers.
That's what it's all about.
It's the lead up to Christmas, my friends. So we appreciate you tuning in to the tail end of the show. But be sure to send in your score prediction for the game. We've got Gary coming in with his score prediction. 21-10 to the Cowboys. Or Cowmen.
I like that.
Obviously, we had a score prediction earlier from Tim, who went with 24-13. For me, that's the only comments we've got so far. But guys, get your comments in, get your score predictions in. We'll get them on the show. For me, I'm going 17-10 Cowboys. Based on the fact it's the Bengals are doing, they've got more injuries than us, more so.
Yeah. Just
so
try. There it is. There's Tim Warner's, where he thinks. Oh, there we go. I said 27-14. He's saying 24-13, so it's close. And you're a bit more of a low scoring game. But he's also saying that passing game will win this. I say the same thing too. I think passing to Zeke, Tony Pollard, but mostly Dalton Schultz, because this defense struggles massively.
Not to mention, we still got our healthiest unit, our wide receivers. They're still all healthy.
They will get the job done, both of them. Yep. I think Amari Cooper will have a bigger game on this one. But let's get into the fantasy lounge and get some fantasy predictions for this week. As we do every week, play at home as well. Next year, we're going to be doing this same thing again. Me and Paul were talking about this. We're going to run a competition on this next year. So you guys at home will completely free in season 3 of UK Cowboys TV by playing the Fantasy Lounge. We'll get a free something. We don't know what it'll be yet, but it'll be something.
To be confirmed.
TBC. But yes, if you play at home, you will win something. But so the way we do it is very, very simple. Really easy. I give you the fantasy points. You say whether you think it's going to be more or less. So if it's going to be more, you give me a boy, oh boy.
Boy,
oh boy. More words in it than oh boy, which is less. So if you think it's going to be less than the predicted fantasy points, give me an oh boy. So I'm going to kick you off, right? We'll go right the way through both teams. Usually we do a bit of back and forth with whoever, but you're completely on your own on this one, Paul.
Yeah, lucky me.
Hey, you're all right. You got this, baby. So don't worry. So I'm going to kick you off, first of all, with Andy Dalton. Right, Andy Dalton. He is predicted to score 16 fantasy points. Is that a boy, oh boy, or an oh boy?
Boy, oh boy. Like the reason I'm saying that,
Hit me with it.
16 is too low. I think he'll still be under 20. I think if you said 19, that would have been a good prediction. But I think I'm saying oh boy. Sorry, boy, oh boy, sorry. But it's
boy, oh boy.
Yeah, up higher prediction.
Okay. Brandon Allen. I don't even know how they got this. But NFL.com is predicting that he's going to score 13 fantasy points.
Potentially, but that could be spot on. I think that's spot on.
Okay, so we'll peg out on that one. Yeah. Zeke, 15 fantasy points. Boy, oh boy, or oh boy?
For the first time doing this for Zeke, I'm going to say oh boy.
Alrighty, I know why, but fine. Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah,
that's okay. We're not holding it against you. Don't worry about it. Giovanni Bernard, right? Bear in mind they're saying Zeke is going to score 15, but we know what this Cowboys defense is like against the run. Giovanni Bernard, 14 fantasy points.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to have to rely heavy on the run game pretty much quite a lot in this game. So, yeah, possibly that could be... Yeah, I may actually lean towards a boy oh boy, which is... Yeah, maybe. Boy oh boy.
Alrighty. That's fine. Amari Cooper, 15 fantasy points.
So you're talking about maybe a 90 yards and a touchdown, or 2 touchdowns and
some short gains, yeah.
Short
I don't see that.
Yeah. I think that's spot on.
Okay. T. Higgins, 13 fantasy points.
Oh boy.
CD Lamb, 13 fantasy points.
I think you'll actually have more than Cooper.
Yep, agree.
So, boy, oh boy.
All right. Dalton Schultz, 9 fantasy points.
Boy, oh boy.
Yeah, I like it. Ooh, hold on. Losing my headphones. Okay. Cowboys defense. Go on.
I was just going to say that is the easiest boy, oh boy I've done in a while.
Oh, yeah. When you think like how this how this defense is against it, and the way Schultz is playing right now as a top 5, top 10 easy tight end. Cowboys defense though, 6 fantasy points. Cowboys defense again more than 6.
Gary in with the comment. Call your boy for Murray. I agree, my man. I agree.
And me. We're with you on that one. Okay, and the Bengals defense, 6 fantasy points.
I really don't know, to be honest with that one. It could be, but it's one of those ones you just don't know what to expect from the Bengals defense, really. So I'll just stick with 6. I think this is the most I've ever seen spot ons in one session. So I do.
Oh, yeah.
You still there?
Okay. Yeah, I'm still here. I may have just lost you for a moment. I do apologize. But okay then. But that, mate, wraps us up. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here, mate. I'm still here.
Good. So yes, that wraps it up for this week's show. Hopefully we'll get to see a win and take us to 4 wins, which is always going to be nice. Now the show gets back to normal scheduling on Tuesday. Brian will be back with the post-game show. So that's always nice. Get back to normal, get things back on track. But for this week on episode number 92, from myself, I'm Mr. Paul Stewart. We will see you all on Sunday after the show. Thank you very much, guys. See you all again. Stay safe.
See you later.